Alright, so we are back over at LabCorp right now. We are getting our blood tested once again. You guys saw the video back in, was it October? We got our blood work tested in October, and Jacob broke it down in November, like right before my first show. So right now we're getting it tested again. So this is basically mid bulk, peak bulk right now. 234 pounds this morning compared to back then I was like 205 pounds, 206 pounds. We just kind of wanted to see like where my test levels are at, where all of my levels are at in comparison to where they were one week out from show compared to mid bulk, peak bulk right now. So me and Jacob are gonna go test our blood again. So we're gonna go in there and see how this is going, and then we'll break that down once we get that. So let's go check it out. It's all good, yeah.
Hey, they just want to look at you buff on your YouTube.
Yeah. Thank you guys. You leave some? Oh.
Excuse me. It's just something they put on their order.
That was pretty quick and easy. The longest part was waiting in the waiting room, basically. Went in there, took like 2 minutes, and we were done. So all good. We got the blood work done, and should be all set to get our results in what, a couple days here, Shelf?
Yeah, I would say a few days.
Couple days.
Yeah.
Because what is it? Wednesday today. We could probably get our results by Thursday or Friday.
Yeah,
I would assume. Way quicker than last time. Last time they like stuck it with the big one, and they like it didn't work, so they had to use like the smaller needle. And then
you had some issues on prep though. Your veins were all retracted. Now they're all out.
Yeah, this time it worked pretty well. So
my shit's always like out right here. I don't know why.
So pretty simple, pretty easy. Busy day today with school, but we still have to lift today too. Got that done. Get you guys the results in a couple days here. All right, so the results are in. It's the second time getting my blood work checked basically this year. So first time we did it was back in October. I have it up on the screen right now. October 22nd of 2021. Got my blood work checked literally 1 week out from my first show, Summer Shredding. And there was definitely like some different results that came up from that. And right now I'm like literally 6 months later, peak bulk. So we wanted to get it checked again, see how the results kind of stack up to where they were before when I was literally 1 week out from a competition. So we just got it checked on, I believe this was April 20th, 2022. We got our blood work checked.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, finally got this in. We got it in like 2 days later, but kind of took our time getting to this video. So gonna break it down today. We got a lot of different things tested. So we're gonna kind of break it down. Jacob's gonna help me out once again. He did a great job in the last video. So I have a better base, a better knowledge base about what a lot of this stuff means and what it means relative to my health and my lifting. Yeah, I guess let's just get into it. So like I said, April 20th, we got this done. So I've been eating 4,400 calories now. My body weight's up to 235 in the morning. Just weighed myself, was 241 right now. So I'm much bigger, you know, healthier than I guess I was during competition.
You got a much healthier body fat now.
Yeah.
Like one would say.
Oh, for sure.
Because your first blood test, that was like your first ever like time you've seen your numbers like on a blood work before, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I never got blood work checked before for testosterone and stuff like that. So yeah, we got testosterone checked, free test checked, and a number of other indicators. So
everyone was really fired up last time because we didn't check FSH and LH despite the rest of the panel coinciding with a high FSH and LH, like one that's like your testes are functioning, not being shut down by hormones.
Yeah, so this time
we went ahead and got it tested.
We got LH and FSH tested this time. So this should be a pretty comprehensive test. Should be pretty comprehensive. So first off.
So last time what? Your blood urea nitrogen, your BUN right there was elevated.
Yeah.
And your creatinine was elevated as well. And they're still like a bit high, but
the
like,
high end of the reference range.
Yeah, because I mean, you're an athlete, like you train, you know, you have like, you're under some stress there.
Yeah.
Like I think creatinine has to do with like how much protein your body's like uptaking and like breaking down, utilizing. So it means you're probably a bit more recovered than you were prior. It's good that like everything's in the range now.
Yeah, everything's in the range now. Even the liver enzymes, AST, ALT, those are very elevated before.
Yeah.
Like twice the reference range before when I was 1 week out from competition. Now I'm within the reference range. You know, still towards the higher end, but it's like literally 1/3 of where it was at before.
Yeah, your liver enzymes came way down likely because there's less like protein breakdown. Like your liver's literally under less stress because it has more food available. You're able to sleep better, you're recovering better. So your liver's not like too stressed, which is good because like a stressed liver that could lead to like appetite suppression and a number of other bad things. Like obviously, if they stayed up elevated like that for a long time, you know, you could be at risk for like a liver issue in the future. But an aberrant thing that happened just because of the prep.
That's the thing with a lot of things are gonna be different because of the situation where I was on prep 1 week out compared to now. So
crazy about prep too is like you look your best you've ever looked, but realistically you might be the unhealthiest you've ever been.
And then lipid panel, pretty solid there.
I mean, you seem to have a genetically low HDL. You have like a 40, which isn't that optimal. Right. But if you were like ripping testosterone, you were like pitting yourself with tests, you would likely have an even lower HDL. It's like really, really hard to keep your HDL in like the optimal reference range because like for whatever reason injecting testosterone just brings that.
It would be much higher if it was?
No, HDL would be lower, which is really bad for your heart.
Gotcha.
Your TSH 2.7, I would say you'd want that to be a little bit lower, but you're not like up near 4.5 or anything. So your thyroid's functioning well. You didn't get reverse T3 or
I got T3 uptake, yeah.
Ideally you would want like reverse T3 too, but we got a bunch of thyroid indicators here. So his thyroid is functioning fine, which thyroid like obviously plays a role in like metabolism and whatnot. Like if you have a hypothyroidism, you would have a like hard time that not gaining weight. Like you wouldn't be able to eat a lot of calories and not gain weight. So
hypo is when it's high?
Yeah. So it's like opposite. So hypothyroidism is like an underactive thyroid, and this would be indicated by a high TSH.
Gotcha.
So there's bodybuilders that will literally exogenously administer T3 or T4 to get leaner, but then this shuts down their thyroid. So you've obviously never like taken thyroid or anything to get lean. Like you just got lean on your own. You know what I mean? So your TSH is, I mean, it's in the reference range, but ideally you would get that down to like, I don't know, 2.0 or so, but it's a lot of genetics come into play there. Thyroid looks good, healthy.
Still in the reference range at least. So that's
good. I think mine's like real similar, like 2 point something.
Yeah, and then like we said, we got FSH and LH checked this time, which a lot of people were commenting about last time.
Yeah, they're all like, oh, he did that on purpose. He didn't want people seeing his FSH and LH shut down. And in addition to that, if you were, like, let's say hypothetically, you were taking a bunch of drugs, shutting yourself down, the blood work wouldn't have looked like how it did, first of all. But let's say in a vacuum, the blood work somehow looked great. Now, you would see if you tried to bring it up, like, manually with, like, drugs and shit, like, you took, like, some fertility drugs to boost it way up there, it would be, like, you wouldn't be able to accurately predict, like, and get it perfectly in the range. So if you look, it says 7.8 for LH, and then what, 9.1 for FSH.
So towards the top of the reference.
Yeah, it's towards the top, which means that you have a very strong connection in your HBTA, which is your hypothalamic pituitary like gonadal axis, right? So your brain tells your balls to like make testosterone so that it can function well.
So higher basically means that telling my body to make more testosterone.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's lower, your body isn't having to produce
so
testosterone, basically.
The likelihood of you using steroids or something and still having a freaking really high LH and FSH is really, really low. Like, it'd be pretty hard to get your shit way up there to like the top like that. And it's showing that
if you were taking something, where would it likely be?
I mean, FSH, like Pete Rubish, he came completely off steroids and he got his blood work done like I think 4 weeks afterwards. And his LH and FSH were like literally 0.1 or like undetectable. Like they were so low that they weren't even like on the freaking sheet. Like the test that they had to like detect it wasn't even detecting it.
Because you're administering an outside source of testosterone, basically.
Yeah, so your body's like, okay, we don't have to make tests anymore. Like, so you're basically, that's called down regulating your HBTA, which is not good. Like you want a functioning HBTA as a natural to have testosterone, have free testosterone, build muscle. Like, yeah, your FSH and LH look fantastic. Like that's where I would want them. If they were above the reference range, this might indicate like you had some sort of like testicular injury, or your free tests would be like super low and they just keep driving it up, which we're gonna get into in a bit here. But
so then after that we got testosterone free in total. So this is pretty eye-opening here.
Yeah, so if you remember, like, it says on the sheet as well. You'll probably put this on the screen, right?
Yeah. So last time testosterone was 621, it says right here.
Which I thought was really high.
which was pretty high, especially, I think, on prep being at 620, because last time you were at like 300 something, right?
Yeah, and I wasn't even like on prep. I was just holding myself pretty lean, and I was like 360 or whatever. Like, so at the end of my prep, I was like 270. Like that was pretty low, and I felt like shit. Right. I don't know how you felt at the end of your prep.
Yeah, I mean, I think I still felt pretty good. You know what I mean? Realistically.
Yeah, you felt all right.
1 week out, it's like you can only feel so good, but I thought I personally felt pretty good going into my show. I didn't feel awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think definitely didn't feel a lot of that has to do with like how steep of a deficit you go into, how lean you get, the entire length of like your contest prep. You seem to have those things like pretty in check, and you know, maybe if you waited like 2, 3, 4 more weeks, you would see that testosterone number decrease even further, because your body's just in a mode like, hey, we don't have the resources available to be a functioning like reproductive human right now. I mean, it's good that you still felt good at the end of your prep. That's good on your coach, you know what I mean, for not like making you do hours of cardio and like have completely unoptimal hormones. Like what we see though is that at the end of your prep, or what, 1 week out from the show, you're free. I believe
free test says 5.7 from last time,
so
which is like the reference range goes down to 9.3, so I was like 50% lower than the bottom of the reference range. Yeah,
so you were like down there. You did not have a lot of testosterone available to fulfill the functions that it really needs to. With the total coming up to freaking 895, which is like, honestly, I think that's the highest total I've really seen of any natural, which like, you know, people always talk about, oh, is he natty or not, this and that. Like evidently you have a very high testosterone number, which could be in accordance with like having a great physique, having a lot of muscle. Like
it doesn't necessarily mean that.
But so the two, like high testosterone doesn't necessarily mean that you'll automatically build a lot of muscle. There's two things that come into that fact: the amount of testosterone you have, and then your androgen receptor density. So there's people, like let's say I was just way bigger than Ryan or something, and I had like a 600 something testosterone, but I was just massive. I might have a lot of androgen receptor density, because at the end of the day, you have tests and you have androgen receptors, and like that's ultimately what like builds muscle, along with like protein metabolism and things. You know, you have a very high test, you evidently have good androgen receptors as well to build muscle, so definitely optimal to have a higher test and a lower test.
For sure, man.
Build.
So in this case, 895 was my test this time. Mid bulk, basically peak bulk. With that being said, so the reference interval, as you see, goes up to 916 according to the LabCorp here.
So you're almost over.
So I'm almost to the very top of the reference range, off by like 20.
Probably a good amount of naturals that have above 1,000, I would say.
You know,
I don't know what percent of the population has above 1,000, but
with that being said, then the free test is still at only 11.6 right now, and like we said, the reference range on the free test for this one goes from 9.3 to 26.5. So like I'm really at the bottom of the reference range for free test still. Even though it's double of what it was during prep, you know, 6 months ago. It's double, so at least it's up.
It's double what it was.
It's double what it was, but based on where my total test is, like it's still pretty low, to be honest. Like it's still at the bottom. You know, Kyle last time had a 27 or something.
He had like 22,
22 or something.
It was up there though. You know?
So even that, like Kyle would have double the free test as me, which is insane. Free test still lower than I would like, to be honest. So that's kind of where that's sitting at right now.
For 895 total, like there's different ways to measure free test. Like different panels will have like different ways they measure it. Like this
picograms, I think.
Picograms per milliliter. Okay. So there's some like that's like nanomoles per liter, but ideally, like you would want, if you put two graphs by themselves, like side by side, you would want your total and your free to be, you know, in the same ballpark, right?
You don't want your total to be up here and your free to be down here.
Totals at the top of the reference range, frees at the bottom. It's not ideal. You would want it to be indicated the same way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get it. Like longevity is a whole different kind of perspective, whole different topic, but if you want to build a lot of muscle, you should have more free tests. So
prolactin, progesterone, I'm gonna break that down. I'm not as familiar.
I'm not like super well versed with these parameters. If your prolactin was super high, one, you'd be at a risk of developing gynecomastia. And people that take certain like substances like 19-nortestosterone derivatives, they might run into prolactin issues. Like people that take trenbolone, they oftentimes get very high prolactin, which leads to the development of gyno, and then literal, like they'll freaking milk their boobs and stuff because they have so much prolactin. Your progesterone's technically slightly out of the range, but
technically,
I looked it up. It says the average progesterone, I looked at a few different studies and it said it was 0.584, and
which is funny because this says the reference goes from like 0 to 0.5, I think.
LabCorp seems to.
LabCorp has from 0 to 0.5. So he's saying
if you got a Quest panel, it might be like up to 0.8 or 0.9.
Either way, I'm a little bit higher than the average, a little bit higher than the reference range here, but it's not crazy. It's not crazy high.
And if Ryan was taking TRT, not even, or higher than TRT dose, you would probably see progesterone being very, very low, like 0.1, 0.2 or something like that, potentially even lower, just because progesterone's produced in the testes. So if you're, you know, administering testosterone, then that would be very low. So yours being high is a good indicator that you're natural, I would say.
And then the very last thing we got tested was SHBG, which we did not do last time. There's a bunch of these panels that we got that like we didn't do last time, so we're trying to make this a little bit more complete of a picture here. So SHBG, I've become a little bit more well-versed on this as well, but mine 54.2, where the reference range literally goes from 16 to 55.9. I'm literally at the very top of the reference range that LabCorp gives. I think that pretty much goes hand in hand with like where my free test is at compared to my total test. My SHBG is very high because it's bound up a lot of that testosterone already, which is why I don't have a lot of free tests available basically.
Yeah.
Because SHBG is so high.
Yeah, so sex hormone binding globulin, it's literally binding up a lot of your sex hormones, your testosterone. That's supposed to be free flowing through your body to facilitate functions. It's binding it all up. Right. Not ideal for building muscle.
So, so optimally, I'd probably want my SHBG to be a little bit lower and my free test to be higher, so that I'm able to use some of that testosterone for building muscle, for like going into the gym and like having intense workouts and stuff like that. Optimally, we want the SHBG to be lower than the top of the reference range.
Those two parameters obviously go hand in hand. Last time we didn't check SHBG, but we decided to test it now that we saw his free was very low.
Free test is a little bit too low. I mean, a lot too low, lower than I would like, but the total test is much higher than I even expected, to be honest. So I'm super happy with that, and everything else is looking pretty good, right along those lines. Everything we've been talking about, all the other indicators seem to all kind of line up. The FSH, LH pretty much line up with the rest of the blood work, which is good, really good to see.
So basically you have a shit ton of tests, you just gotta free some of it up so you can actually like use it to build some muscle here.
Exactly.
For your goals. Like,
and I think sometimes, honestly, literally, I think overtraining could be a big factor with like my free test being kind of lower and stuff like that, because like I feel kind of beat down sometimes, man. I feel like I'll sleep and I still feel like a little bit like beat up and maybe a little bit under recovered, to be honest. Maybe more rest is necessary, more rest days, because we have some pretty long workouts, to be honest. Like I used to, back in high school, I would train for like an hour each day, an hour, hour and a half, super efficient. I would still push around heavy weight, but it was like quick enough that I could just get right through it. Nowadays, like we take long rests to make sure that we can hit like maximal weight with high intensity, and overall like we end up having 2-3 hour long training sessions. We're not taking that many rest days, to be honest.
You're always pushing yourself super hard too with like the weights.
Yeah, exactly. We're pushing like accessories towards failure, hitting heavy singles on squat, bench, deadlift like almost every day. So training has been really, really hard. I love it, but it's it's very hard, sometimes hard to recover from. Granted, I'm also eating 4,400 calories a day right now, so I'm eating a lot more than I was on prep. I'm sleeping more. I'm sleeping better, probably, to be honest. That being said, I think the training has a lot to do with it. I think prepping for a show might have some to do with it from before too. Still just kind of recovering from that stuff. And I was telling Jacob, I was like, what we really need is we need a trip to Cancun.
Go on a bit of relaxation.
Go on a cruise, relax for a week, just like take off the gym for a little bit, and just like let the body just recover. And I think my recovery is not awful. Like I'm not like perpetually sore just all the time. I think it could be better still. You know what I mean? I think it still could be better. So that's something that we're going to try and, work with. Jacob actually put together like a little supplement stack for me. Dr. Shalv prescribed me a little supplement stack, a natural supplement stack. So I just ordered a couple things off of Amazon. Should help to, free up some of that test, lower the SHBG a little bit.
Quicker you can recover, the more weight you can push.
Yeah, obviously that's why people use PEDs, because they can have crazy recovery. And
if you can freaking bench 4 plates, do all your volume, turn around, boom, not even sore, do it again. Next thing you know, you're benching 455. So.
Exactly. So he's got a little stack put together for me. So we're got a bunch of different supplements and stuff over here that we got from Amazon that I'm basically not even that expensive, to be honest, but I think this is going to help in the long run. Over the counter things: magnesium, zinc, boron, vitamin D3, K2, DHEA, and Tongkat Ali. Talk about it in a future video, but trying some different things out, optimizing our rest, optimizing rest days, sleeping enough, making sure I'm hitting all my calories, all my protein, optimize everything, because we're trying to, we have a couple more months to bulk here, so we're trying to put, on the most muscle mass as possible. And if we're doing it naturally, we have to, optimize everything we possibly can. We got some big goals, we got some big potential, moves we're gonna be making here. So there's a lot going on, and we're still bulking right now. We're still bulking. I'm excited, so we're just trying to put myself in the best position possible too. And the strength too. The strength's been feeling crazy lately. So it's been a lot of fun. Like I thought, maybe after the powerlifting meet, I'd like, kind of take off from strength training a little bit. But I've been having so much fun pushing the heavy weights, and like probably the strongest and healthiest I've felt in my entire training career when it comes to like no quad tendonitis, no back pain. Strength is going up. Like squats feel the best they've felt in my entire life. Deadlift is feeling the best it's ever felt. Bench is going up, man. So appreciate Jacob for helping me out with this, man, because he knows way more than I do about all this stuff. I know a lot of stuff from experience, but he's a big learner on this kind of stuff.
It's like some like biohacking, performance optimization shit. Like,
yeah, and I've gotten better. I've researched into some things, and I want to continue to do that. I want to continue, you know, improving my knowledge base.
You've been like pretty ambitious with what you've done training wise.
Yeah.
You know, we train, you know, every 8 days we train 6 days. Like, taking one rest day.
6 hard training days out of an 8-day cycle, 2 days off within that cycle, and you know, there's no light days, man. There's no light days.
School and stuff too, and social media, you're just always like burning the candle.
And school's done now, so it gives me another opportunity to, you know, optimize my day a little bit for training and stuff like that. You know, obviously I'm going to be making videos, figuring out what I'm going to do work-wise and stuff like that, but with school kind of being done right now.
And then if you can free up all that test, you can continue to be ambitious and continue to make great progress.
That's what I'm talking about, man. So that's what we're going to try to do.
Just keep an eye on the rest of your health. Should be good to go.
That's what we're trying to do, man. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up. We were just talking about getting our body fat tested, because I just tested my body fat on the scale. So it said I was 241 pounds, like right now. And it said my body fat was 23%. And I'm like, that just can't be right. That's cap. That just can't be right. Even Jacob, you said like 17. That's maybe closer to where you're at,
like
right?
18 or something.
Yeah. So it'd be cool to actually go get it professionally tested somewhere, DEXA scan, or you were talking about the water
weight,
underwater. Yeah. So that would be a cool video to do. So let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're not already. See you guys in the next one. Peace.